So we're looking at objective 1 here, and we're using pulse width modulation to turn on the LED at varying brightnesses. We got 25%, 50%, 75%, and full duty cycle. It's a little hard to see on the video because the LED is just the color. But you see we're hooked up into pin 3 there, so that's the pulse width modulation pin. And as far as code goes, we're just doing an analog write at the different duty cycles, and a 2-second delay, and then a half a second delay between each one. So right now we're just using the board as a power source to spin this DC motor here. You see it's spinning pretty slow. Got it hooked up with a potentiometer and 5 volts. So we turn up the potentiometer there. Motor spins up pretty quick. So here now we're using the Arduino along with the pulse width modulation to vary the speed of the motor. We turn the pot down here. You can hear it slow down there and speed back up. And we can watch the serial monitor here and show the same thing. It goes down and goes back up. So if we look here, we just basically we're taking a reading on the potentiometer, and we're just turning that into a mapped output value using the pulse width modulation and doing an analog write to control the speed of the motor. Okay, so now we're using a potentiometer and a push button in tandem to turn on a motor. And we'll show you an example of that here. Turn the potentiometer up a little bit. Looking for an input value of over 500 on the potentiometer. And when I turn the push button on here, now let's see if I can do this. The motor has to kind of get kick-started a little bit, but it's running now. When I let go of the push button, it shuts off. For some reason, it seems to take a little while to shut off, but there it just did. And now we turn the potentiometer down, and the motor won't start. And I'm not going to try to put my phone down to kick-start it, but it won't start. So here's the serial monitor input, and we'll turn the potentiometer up, and it goes up and goes back down. So over here we have our pin positions for the different sensors and buttons, and the output pin for the motor. So we set all those things to the right order. And down here we just have a simple read, analog read on the sensor pin, digital read on the button pin. We take those two values, put them into an if-else loop that makes the motor work. Pretty simple stuff.